Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to talk about 3D in 2025, specifically about how I watch movies in 3D in my home, because I have a lot of variety of products that I have in the home that I can technically watch 3D on, and I want to kind of rank them and talk about each one, when I use them, why I use them, and basically which one ends up coming out on top and which one is better. And crazy, because if I would have made this list a couple years ago, my number one and number two, and some of these would have flip-flopped. They wouldn't be in the positions that they were today. Even as close as like a month ago, this list would have changed based on what I have right now. So it's really cool to make a video like this. I love 3D. You guys know this on this channel, and I love talking about 3D movies and watching 3D movies. And I know a lot of you guys out there do too. And I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I have a lot of these 3D technology things that I can go ahead and check out. And again, we're going to be concentrating on movies today, not 3D gaming, just movies in general, on where I watch them, why I watch them there, and which one comes out on top on my favorite place to watch 3D movies. And if you guys want to support me and the channel, some of the links to these products that are available right now will be down below with some affiliate links and save you guys some money along the way, so make sure you check that out. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so the first one we're going to be talking about here today is the Lumepad. The Lumepad here, this is the Lumepad 2, and this is basically glasses-free 3D. So this is the only one on this list that's glass-free, and it's really interesting because it actually works surprisingly well. When I first heard about this, I actually had the Lumepad 1 as well, and the second one is much better because it has like cameras and stuff that keep track of your eyes, so when you move left and right, it kind of works. If you guys think about the 3DS, it kind of is in that same vein. And the reason that I use this for movies is because it's an iPad and it's like a 12.9-inch screen, but it lets me watch 3D. Of course, it'll let you play games as well, but the idea is that it also lets you watch movies. And what's really cool is that it even converts 2D stuff to 3D on the fly. You have a YouTube app on here called LeaTube that will actually go on YouTube. Not that you're going to be able to see how it works on here, but it will auto-convert it from 2D to 3D automatically, which is super, super cool. And it will do it with pictures as well. So there's an app on here called Lea player, so obviously you're not going to be able to see it for yourself right now, but any of these pictures, this looks like, I wish I can kind of show it to you guys in here, but even looking behind the camera, I haven't used this in a little bit, and it really is awesome on how good this actually looks. I mean, I can literally feel like I can grab him. He is like up here. It's like fully popped out like in this picture, and it looks amazing. And the fact that you're doing this without glasses amazes me every time that I see this. And like, again, there's a bunch of, you can make your own pictures. You can take pictures with the camera and do stuff like this and just watch them and all that kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's really awesome that you could take your own pictures. These are stuff that they kind of provided on the tablet that make, you know, the highest quality pictures that you can take on here, which is super awesome. But man, there's some really good stuff on here on how this looks. Like, that looks insane on how that pop-out looks right now on here. And of course, we're talking about movies on here. And I do put some of my movies on here. There's an SD card slot on this Lumepad too, and I back up a lot of my Blu-rays, or if they exist in 3, then I do it, and you know, put them on here. For example, we got, obviously I'm not going to play the audio so I don't get copyright striked, but this is Toy Story, for example, and I wish I can show you guys how awesome this actually looks. I mean, this is ripped from my Blu-ray collection, my 3D Toy Story, and I put it on here on the SD card slot in a format that this thing reads, and it works with a lot of formats. You just tap this little 3D icon, and it automatically detects it, and you're watching 3D movies right off the bat. And the speakers here sound really, really good. Let me just go ahead and fast forward a little bit. The colors that this reproduces and stuff like that on the Lumepad 2 looks outstanding. I think it looks really, really good. Watching this in 3D with no glasses is always something that, you know, is going to wow people, because we don't have a lot of technology like this. Like I said, most of the 3D stuff that we're watching either requires us putting on a headset or putting on, you know, some kind of glasses on our face. And the fact that 3D on here looks this good with your eyes, and you're just looking at it, and the colors look this good as I'm staring at it right here, is definitely something, you know, that is really, really cool. And even though this is coming up last on my list, I have a very high appreciation for what this is doing, and I still love using it because it always gives me the wow factor. Every time I turn it on, I'm like, holy shit, this is like without glasses, and it really is popping out of the screen, and it looks just as good as any other 3D. The reason that it comes down at the bottom of this list is because for movie watching, you know, I have a lot of other things that are going to give me more of a movie theater-like experience in 3D. Even on the go. But, you know, this is still really cool, and I love showing this to friends and family when they come over, because, again, Nothing, no 3D without glasses is something a lot of people haven't seen. So the Lumepad 2 is really, really cool. The next one on the list here is actually my LG E6 3D TV, the holy grail of 3D TVs that came out back then. This is the LG TV that came out in 2016 or 2017, the last 3D TV that LG made. The E6 is usually the one that's really sought after. This is a 65-inch model. They also came out with a 55-inch model as well. And man, I'm surprised that this is this low on the list, because if you would have asked me, when I got this TV, I think it's been like 2 or 3 years now. Let's say 2 years ago, this would have been #1 on my list back then. But things have changed, and you'll see how this video progresses. Obviously, this is still a standout thing in my room. I love having this in the retro room, because obviously the retro room is everything retro. This is where all my retro games are and stuff, and this TV fits perfectly in that realm because it's a 3D TV from back in the era that they don't make anymore. And what sets this one apart is that it is a 4K OLED TV. So you get those crazy good blacks, you get those crazy good colors on an OLED, and you also get to experience that in 3D when you're watching a 3D movie. And not only that, but the glasses that they use here are really, really cool, because these are the ones that don't require any batteries or anything like that. They're the same ones used in theater. You can see all the ones that I have sitting over here in the corner. And when you're using these glasses, you don't have anything to charge or anything. And what's really sets this TV apart from a lot of other 3D TVs, besides the fact that it's OLED and 4K, is that the technology that this thing is using, even though it's using passive glasses, which is what those are called when you don't have batteries in them or anything like that, it's passive technology. Usually passive means that you lose some of the vertical resolution when you actually watch at 1080p. So instead of getting 1920 by 1080, you get 1920 by 540. But in this case, because of the fact that it's a 4K TV and it's not a 1080p TV like a lot of the 3D TVs were back then, you actually get the full 1080p resolution set to each eye, which is obviously awesome, because then you get the full resolution, even though you're using a pair of glasses that are passive, which that technology, one of the downsides to it was losing that resolution. But this gives you the advantages of using active glasses, which we'll talk about more later, which was glasses that had batteries in them but didn't suffer from losing that vertical resolution. But it gives it to you in a very lightweight, passive pair of glasses that don't require any charging, and you can put them on as soon as you want to go, which is awesome. One of the other things, and I wish I could show you this stuff on here, but you can't. One of the other things that I really like about this TV as well, which is different than for movies, but really quickly, is these orange glasses right here are actually 3D glasses that have one of these glasses are for the left eye, but they're both the same, and one's for the right eye. And basically what that does is when you're playing a game that does 3D on the PlayStation 3 and you turn on a split view on the LG TV, basically when you're playing split screen, when you wear those glasses, you get the full exact image for the person. So you're not splitting the screen in half like you would in a regular split screen. The person who's playing on one pair of glasses will see the full TV with the full image, and then the other person will see the full image as well, which is really, really cool. A unique feature that only LG TVs had, that really, made using the 3D technology cool, because now you're playing split screen. And you don't have to worry about not getting the full entire image and splitting the screen in half. You actually each get your own view, which I thought was super awesome for the technology back then. But I love watching movies on here, and obviously being an OLED and everything, it is amazing, and that's what started all this. That's why my 3D Blu-ray collection, as you can see here, started right here. I just really love 3D movies. They're all kind of sitting in this corner, as you can see. But the reason that I don't use this much, we'll get into more as I see other ones, but I do still really love watching movies down here. I have a nice little X rocker that's like a 5.1 speakers that I have on the left one, the right one on the sides, and then a sub inside, which is really fun to use. And watching 3D movies on here is a fantastic experience. The only thing that brings it down a little bit is these 3D TVs were notorious for having because they were OLED and they were like back in the day and people didn't take care of them, they always had some kind of burn-in. And the first one I had of this, the burn-in was terrible. It was completely unusable. Like the reds were everywhere, the blue was everywhere. You can see that the image on here is really good looking. This one has slight burn-in when you have like certain like reds and greens come up, where you'll see like a faint line going across. And it's something that doesn't happen on most scenes of the movie. It depends on what's going on. And even when it does, it's like a very faint line, two lines that go like across from here and here. So there is some burn-in, but very, very minimal compared to some of what these TVs can do. And for the most part, it's awesome. Like, it's awesome. And I love playing like the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and stuff that supported 3D on this TV. So it's not just for movies, but for movies' sake, it is an awesome TV. The glasses make it cool. I love showing this off to people and stuff like that. But obviously, it's not my preferred way to watch 3D movies anymore. which is crazy because, like I said, I wouldn't have said that a couple of years ago, but things have evolved in this house and things have gotten better. Technology has evolved and we've gotten other things in this house. But this TV will never leave because it's a perfect thing to have as somebody who loves 3D in the retro room. And it still serves my main purpose for this TV right now, to be honest, is for playing those PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and those 3D games that were made for consoles. That's kind of what this is for. That's what I use it the most. Playing MotorStorm in 3D is fantastic and a great experience. So that's what this 3D gets used for the most now. I used to watch a lot of movies on here, but now I watch movies somewhere else, which we'll talk about in a minute. But again, it's not that I wouldn't watch a 3D movie on here because it is really awesome and nothing compares to the OLED blacks and colors. But there are other things that are more important than those OLED blacks and colors, in my opinion, which we'll get into. Now, the next one we're going to be talking about here is these Viture glasses. Now, it doesn't specifically have to be these. These are just the ones I have. Obviously, people out there use X-Real and, Rokid ones and all these other ones. But Viture is, I've used a few of them at this point. I've had the original X-Reals and I still have other ones as well. This is just the one I'm highlighting right now. And these are the Viture glasses. And I really, really like these. First of all, they're the 3D glasses. The way that you wear these glasses, I think they look really nice. You got the contact inserts sitting right there, which work well. They just magnetically attach to the glasses there. And I think a lot of you guys know exactly what these glasses are about that set these apart, is that while you're actually, if I switch these around, while you're actually wearing these glasses, if I put them on my head here, what's really cool about these, as you guys are looking at, is that you can plug these in just with the USB-C cable here on the side. And when you have them plugged in, it's just a USB-C on the other side, and you can go ahead and use these, for a variety of different things. You can plug them into your phone, and then your phone can mirror to this device. You can plug it into your consoles, depending on what it is. You can plug it into a variety of different things, but what I like to do with it is I plug it into my Android phone, or the two Android phones that I have, and I have a bunch of 3D movies stored on there the same way I was talking about in the Lumepad, where I ripped a lot of my Blu-rays and have a lot of stuff on there, and I have them on here. And now these are the perfect glasses for on-the-go 3D movie watching. This is my preferred way to watch 3D movies when I'm out on a plane, when I'm traveling and stuff like that, and I still want to watch a movie. Because I love 3D movies so much, I will always choose to watch a 3D movie first before a regular 2D movie. So this lets me do that on the go because it gives me a gigantic projected 120-inch screen or bigger, depending on what's going on, up to 150 inches, that you can put on here. And the clarity on here is awesome because it's a 1080p micro Sony panels that you have on here. It looks really good. The colors and the blacks, you still get those great colors that an OLED produces on this, and it's just an amazing looking screen, and the 3D really does pop on here. It looks awesome, and it's a great way to watch 3D movies, and no other form of technology is going to let you bring this so portably and so easily in your backpack and stuff. So this is definitely my preferred way to watch 3D movies on the go, which is why it makes it on this list, and it's what I take with me every time I go on vacation when I want to continue to watch 3D movies. So the next one we're going to be talking about here, and this is coming in at my number 2 here, is my projector, my Valerion 4K laser projector that I just did a video on, and I've been having so much fun watching 3D movies on here because before, when I had people coming over and I wanted to watch 3D Blu-rays, my only option was the TV downstairs, the one you just saw me show before, because my Epson 5040, I just didn't like the way they did 3D. It was fine, it was still fun, I still used it a bunch of times, but they had like a 3D depth sensor where you kind of adjusted it from 0 to 5, and then like depending on how it was, the 3D like was more pop out. But anytime I put it over like 2, it basically wouldn't, it would cross-eye the image and it wouldn't look good and it wasn't usable basically. So I always had to keep it at like 1 or 2 at the most, and it looked fine, but again, it didn't have the brightness that this projector has. It doesn't have the colors and the black levels that this projector has. So it wasn't something I used. I always gravitated towards that OLED TV downstairs because it just had way better colors and way better blacks, and that's where I watched all my 3D movies. And that would have been my number 1 if it wasn't for this projector that I just swapped out a couple of weeks ago. And this is the Valerion VisionMaster Pro 2. Like I said, I just did a video on it. Let me show you guys the projector here in front of me again if you guys didn't watch that video. Here it is right here. This is a 4K projector. Yes, it is using pixel shifting, but pixel shifting has come a long way. My old Epson 5040 also used pixel shifting, but this is night and day better than what that projector was doing with pixel shifting. This looks like, when I watch it, and you guys will see it here in a minute, it looks like 4K to me. It just looks that good. So I have that projector sitting there. And then on top of that, I also have the screen as well from Valerion, which is a 120-inch screen. So no matter what anyone says, it is really, really awesome to be able to watch a 3D movie in 120 inches right in front of you. Even though at 65-inch downstairs is really big, one of the things that makes this something that I use over the LG now is this 120-inch screen, because it's just that much bigger, and watching 3D movies is a big deal. But the biggest reason is the sound. 3D movies is not just about the visuals, but it's also about the sound as well. And even though that little chair that I showed you guys downstairs does its job, it's nothing compared to having a full 7.1.2 surround sound like I have here. I got these speakers here in front of me, and then I have these speakers, surrounding as well, and then I have the Atmos speakers sitting on top. So when it comes to watching movies, this is where you want to watch it. If it's 3D movies that have like DTS HD or Dolby Atmos, whatever the case may be, I want to watch it in here. So before, I wasn't watching it because the quality of the projector just wasn't good enough. So I sacrificed that audio and just watched those 3D movies downstairs instead. And I used the projector for other things. But now that this projector does what it can do, and I'll show you guys some sample shots here in a minute, this is night and day better than that other projector. So now I love watching 3D movies in here, especially when I have friends over, because now we don't have to huddle down that small TV that's down there. Now we can all huddle around this one here. Now, what I actually use in this room to watch a lot of my 4K Blu-rays is something that I wanted to talk about and spend some time on to give you guys an idea on how I curate my collection. Now, of course, my first option when I watch 3D Blu-rays, and it always will be, is having the physical media themselves. So if you guys come over here, you guys can see I have obviously the collection that you saw downstairs, and I have these to sample it for you guys. But you can see I have like Avatar: The Way of the Water sitting here, and the original Avatar sitting here, and Ready Player One and stuff. And those are always going to be the way I prefer to watch them. And when I do watch those original 4K Blu-rays that are actually on, or sorry, the original 3D Blu-rays that I want to watch, I wanted to watch it on the best thing that I could watch it on, just because I didn't want to have any issues or 3D movies being played. So what I got was this Panasonic Blu-ray player. This is an Ultra HD Blu-ray player that's sitting on here. I just got this a few days ago. This is the DP UB820. This is the one of the top one of the top 4K Blu-ray players that you can buy, for a few reasons that we're going to talk about now, just in case you guys don't know, because this is not a cheap Blu-ray player. This is $550. Now, granted, I got it on sale for like $420, but regardless, it doesn't make it cheap. And it's, for something that a lot of people are like, well, you have an Xbox Series X sitting right there. Why not just use the Xbox Series X to play your 3D Blu-rays, or to play your Blu-rays in general? Because I don't just play, even though this video is about 3D Blu-rays, I also use this room now to also watch my 4K stuff as well. And I'm a big person who likes physical media when it comes to things that I actually like to watch. So I'm not going to buy every single 4K Blu-ray out there, or every single 4K piece of content. For the most part, I'll just do streaming on Netflix like everyone else seems to do. But when it comes to certain titles that I want in my collection that I know I'm going to be watching for years to come, and it's not a one and done, like Star Wars over there, or like my Harry Potter 4K discs that are sitting over there, or even some of my favorite, regular DVDs, for example. If we come over here, Boy Meets World on DVD sitting over here is obviously awesome to own. And, there's a lot of different reasons on why I would use it. And what this thing offers me that an Xbox Series X won't offer me is a few things. First of all, this Blu-ray player can actually show Dolby Vision. So if you're using a 4K Blu-ray, obviously 3D Blu-rays don't support Dolby Vision, but if you're using a 4K Blu-ray, which a lot of them do now, this supports letting me watch 4K Blu-rays that are in Dolby Vision. The Xbox Series X does not let you watch Dolby Vision when it comes to Blu-rays. It will downsample it down to regular HDR. So that is already a big win, because Dolby Vision looks visually better on here than it does on the Series X. And you can easily see that, especially if you had it side by side, on how much better it actually looks. You can see the colors and what Dolby Vision offers is obviously shown on there. So if you want to watch, if you're spending all this money on a projector and sound and everything, you don't want to cheap out on what you're playing all these movies on. So this is one of the only ones that actually supports Dolby Vision, so that's a plus for it right there. It's also really important that this thing is actually really reliable to play all your Blu-rays, whether it's 3D Blu-rays, whether it's 4K stuff, whether it's DVDs. It needs to be reliable, because one of the other things I do as well is that I sometimes have to create my own Blu-rays as well, not just for 3D, but sometimes 2D stuff as well. For example, the famous Jet Jackson, who remembers that show? Because I know I do. And I do a lot of these where I create my own Blu-rays that are sitting right here. And I have no choice but to create them because they never came out on DVD. There's no other way to watch The Famous Jet Jackson, and I can't even find every episode without just going out there and downloading it myself. So I put them on DVD. Same thing with here with Bridge to Terabithia. Now this is a 2D conversion. This is not a movie that ever released in 3D because I also convert a lot of Blu-rays because I love the 3D Blu-rays so much, and I'd rather watch it in 3D than not. There's a site called 3D HD Club that you guys can go to, and they do a lot of 3D conversions for a lot of 2D movies that people like to watch, which is obviously awesome that that's like a thing that you can do because obviously 3D Blu-rays don't release all the time. So the fact that we're still getting 2D conversions and some of them look really, really good. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, this looks like it could have been a native 3D job. Some are better than others, of course, but it is awesome to just have that as part of my collection. And I have a lot of those 3D Blu-rays that I've created in that scenario. And I have a lot of DVDs that I created with a lot of old school shows from the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and stuff that I would want to watch on here. So what does this 3D player do for me? Well, for the 3D Blu-rays, honestly, not too much. Not too much. Because it can't upconvert 3D Blu-rays because it's not possible to convert a Blu-ray sample that's already going at 1080p into 4K. But for anything else that I watch that's not a 4K Blu-ray, for example, like those DVDs that I just showed you, or a regular 1080p Blu-ray, it will actually upconvert it to 4K. And it looks really, really good. Like, it is insane on how good and you guys are seeing it now, how good that 4K actually looks like when you're watching it on a like this DVD from Boy Meets World. You would think that it's not a DVD. Like this DVD has never looked this good on anything I've ever watched it on, and it looks fantastic on this projector and fantastic on watching it being upscaled to 4K, and it does that for any DVD that I own, any 1080p Blu-ray that I own. Because again, you can't buy everything in 4K Blu-ray because they don't exist. Sometimes they didn't make them. Sometimes you need to get the regular DVD edition. Sometimes you need to make your own DVDs because there's no other option, which is what I do. So if you want that physical media to be able to get the fullest sound, the Atmos support or the full HD support and sound, then you're going to have to buy those DVDs, and those Blu-rays are going to be better than streaming it on Netflix or streaming it on other things, which are going to be suffering from compression, and they're going to be suffering from audio being compressed, which is never going to give you the they're never going to give you the lossless version of Atmos or 7.1 surround. So if you want that high quality audio and you want the uncompressed version of these files, then yeah, 4K media, 1080p media, and all that stuff on Blu-ray is going to make it amazing. And you want to have a really good player that handles all that, because not all players are the same. Some players that I've had in the past, they'll work fine for Blu-rays most of the time, but then they won't work with the Blu-ray rips that I just showed you that I made, or they won't work with the DVDs that I ripped myself and created. So this has played everything that I wanted to throw at it, whether it's the stuff I've made myself, whether it's the regular Blu-rays, whether it's the 4K Blu-rays, whether it's whatever the case may be, it's all being thrown at it. And one of the other things that it does with Dolby Vision that a lot of other Blu-rays don't do is it actually turns on Dolby Vision automatically. I don't know why that's not a thing, but apparently when I was reading about that, that is true. You have to, like, this will actually just turn on Dolby Vision when it detects that a Blu-ray actually has Dolby Vision. And other Blu-ray players, you'll have to know that on your own. You'll have to know, like, hey, I'm watching a Dolby Vision movie, so you have to go into the settings and turn it on. And who the hell is going to do that and remember to do that for every single movie? Nonsense that that's not a standard, but apparently this is one of the only few Blu-rays that actually players that actually do it. So that's also a really good thing about that. And yeah, like I said, the upscaling for DVDs and regular Blu-rays on this thing to 4K makes it worth it alone. Even though I watch a lot of content on Netflix, like I talked about on Netflix and other streaming services, like a lot of us do, because it's just easier. The 4K that you get on Netflix and stuff like that, like I talked about, is not going to be the same thing that you get when you watch a dedicated 4K Blu-ray with lossless audio, no compression on the video. And same thing with the DVDs. Even if Disney Plus has Boy Meets World on there, which they do, they're going to be obviously in lower quality than this DVD will, especially when it comes to the audio, because that's just the nature of why people collect physical media. And the fact that this Panasonic Blu-ray player makes it look even better by upscaling it, and it's probably one of the best upscaling Blu-ray players that you can buy, and it looks this good. Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and buy every single DVD and Blu-ray out there all of a sudden, but I will always collect the ones that I have my favorite. Now I have an incentive to do so because now I have something that's going to make them look even better than before. So for things that I actually really like, favorite TV shows, favorite movies that I'm going to be watching more than once, and don't just want to stream it one time on Netflix or Disney Plus, now I have an incentive to go ahead and buy those physical media. I also have the option here to come into Plex and have this with the Google TV. There's Google TV built into this projector that I use right on here, and I have Plex installed on it. And I also do have a dedicated 3D section where I rip all my Blu-rays on there as well. And the reason that I have them on here, even though I just talked about, creating and putting them on a disc, sometimes I also have them here as well. So I can easily access them for, watching them on VR headsets, whether it be the Quest or other things like that, or just easily accessible stuff. Or maybe I didn't rip them to the actual disc, because I don't rip every single thing to a disc. It has to be a movie that I really want to have on disc to have, the best version of it on a disc and play it that way. But so sometimes I just watch it straight from Plex, and I'll still download the highest quality that I can get, or rip it from my Blu-ray collection if it's actually a movie that's available to buy, and have them all sitting on here, and they look great, and it's awesome. You can see that, like Avatar, for example, Way of the Water is sitting on my Plex server, and it has like AC3 5.1, and it's in 4K. But some of them will have even better quality. It really just depends on the actual movie. Like I know Aladdin, for example, the new one, this has true HD 7.1, so this will actually play in Atmos on this thing. So it's really, really awesome. But something that you guys should know if you guys are using this projector that I would have never, it took me a while to figure this out, is that this projector with Google TV will not let you use true HD 7.1 and pass it through your receiver to watch these movies. So they will either downsample it or not play any audio at all. So it's either going to downsample it, or again, the audio is going to be muted. And that is because True HD, lossless audio, whether it's with Atmos or without Atmos, it's not going to pass through when you have a movie encoded that way. And some of my movies are encoded that way that I have on Plex or 3D, as you guys are seeing right here. So what you actually have to do is, for these movies, there's either the NVIDIA Shield that lets you do that, or the actual Xbox Series X lets you do it. So for movies that I have on Plex that I don't have a 3D copy of on a Blu-ray disc, for whatever reason, whether I made it myself or have my own copy of it, and I want to watch it, then I just turn on the Xbox Series X and I go ahead and watch it from there, and then it's kind of all set, and then you don't have to worry about anything. It's just a quirk of Plex and the way that it works, and the way that True HD 7.1 is passed along from Plex from your server from Google TV. It's just not something that works, but hey, that's fine. Most like if you want to have that lossless audio, put it on a disc, which is what I do most of the time, and watch it on the 4K Blu-ray player that I just talked about from Panasonic, and do it that way. And if for some reason you can't, then at least there's a workaround to use it on the Xbox Series X. And like I said, there really is nothing like using a projector like this. Not only does it have the 4K that I was talking about, but it is a laser projector. The colors are really, really good, and it has the highest black levels that I've seen on a projector myself. I mean, 15,000 contrast, and when you have the EBL mode turned on for black levels, makes blacks really pop on here. The colors look really good on here. I don't know if it's coming across in this video, because sometimes the reflections on this video produce like colors that aren't really actually there, like it's doing right now with that heavy purple. That's not the way it shows up in person. But point is that this projector, obviously being the best one that I've owned, I mean, for the price and stuff like that, there's not much you can get better out there. And it makes watching movies and stuff like that on here amazing. And since it has the 3000 lumens for brightness, way better than my other projector, it makes the 3D movies that need the brightness, because some of the brightness goes away, be that much better. And like I was talking about, these are the 3D glasses that you have for this one. They're still really thin and really comfortable, so they've gotten so much better. But these do require batteries. Well, they're rechargeable, and they do last 50 hours on a single charge, so no complaints there. 50 hours on a single charge. But these are what they call active glasses, and this is the one that like shifts the image left and right rapidly. But these glasses have been amazing, and the 3D on here, the depth and stuff like that, is the best I've ever seen on a projector on a 120-inch screen. The depth is amazing. Yes, it is true that like the LG downstairs that I showed you guys before gets darker blacks, because the projector is hard to match an OLED, even one from 2017, and might get slightly better colors as well. But I will take the 120-inch that I have on here with, almost like really good blacks, not as good as the OLED, but still really good blacks and colors on a 120-inch screen with these glasses. I will take that on most movies almost every single time, especially when the surround sound system is in here cranking and everything kind of sings together with the movie and the Dolby Atmos or 7.1 surround sound. It is hard to go back after watching it on this projector to that TV downstairs. Again, sometimes I'm like, oh, these blacks look so good. It is fun watching it on there. And it still is, because when I put a movie on, I'm like, damn, this looks good with these colors and blacks. But then I come up here and I was like, yeah, but this is 120 inches and listen to the surround sound. So, you know, it's good to have both options, but I feel like I'm going to be swaying a lot to using this projector the majority of the time when it comes to a 3D movie watching with friends and family over. And the next one we got to talk about here, which is the last one on the list of where I do most of my 3D movie watching, is definitely the Apple Vision Pro. So here we are inside the Apple Vision Pro, my favorite way to watch 3D movies right now, for sure. And one of the reasons for that is because, first of all, obviously we have these nice OLED panels that I'm using on the Apple Vision Pro. They're 4K resolution, they're micro OLED, so you got those inky blacks and the nice colors. The resolution is 4K, so everything just looks really, really good on here to be able to watch, you know, 3D movies or any content for that matter, which is what my primary use case is for this headset. It's just an amazing viewing experience. And then we got to talk about, you know, the fact that you can take spatial photos and stuff like that. Like things you take with your iPhone will automatically be converted into 2D, even if it wasn't originally shot in spatial video. You can still take any picture you have and kind of just make it 3D. Like this one right here that I had, like that I downloaded as a wallpaper from online. By pressing that button there, you instantly see it in spatial and you can put it in surround you and it feels like you're looking through a window. Even though this is a portrait picture, it still looks really, really good as you're kind of looking through it with the power of their AI that's just kind of automatically making it into 3D, which is really cool. And you can zoom in on there and out. And, you know, obviously other pictures will do better depending on if they're landscape or whatever. But it was really awesome that you could just take the pictures while you're on your phone walking about, and then you can come in here and see them in 3D. Like this one here that I'm looking at looks amazing in 3D. I wish it was easy to show on the camera here, but this is when I was on a Disney trip to video where obviously we're all having fun here on Test Track. And, you know, it looks amazing to be able to watch these and kind of relive the moments when you're on vacation. Now, moving on over to 3D, the thing that sets the Apple Vision Pro apart is the fact that they actually sell 3D movies directly on their store on the Apple TV app. So, and not only that, but you have their Apple immersive content on here. And the 3D movies that they have on here are not just regular 3D movies, but also there are 4K HDR 3D. So that is the first time anywhere available, anywhere right now that you can get. You cannot get 4K HDR 3D videos at all, or any movies like that. No matter what I do, no matter what Blu-rays I buy, Rebirth, I can't even find that on a 3D Blu-ray. But even if I did, it wouldn't look as good as this in 4K HDR because no 3D Blu-rays support HDR. And even though a lot of 1080p's rival 4K quality because of the compression and stuff like that, so you'll get some back and forth in that. Nothing's going to compare in that regard, but HDR really does make a big difference, and having the colors and stuff like that and the vibrancy that these OLED panels give you really does make everything look really, really good. And a lot of the times there's no other way to experience these movies anyway in 3D because, like I just said, Jurassic World that just came out, Rebirth, you can't find anywhere. Even in other countries that are sometimes selling these 3D Blu-rays in other areas, can't find it anywhere. So my only option is to, like, you know, buy this on here on the Apple Vision Pro. But the good news is that we're getting the best quality for it. So nothing that we're actually losing there. And then the other big thing right now, as somebody who's a huge Disney fan, is Disney Plus. Their 3D movie catalog that comes with their subscription is available nowhere else right now. And again, they're also supporting 4K HDR, so you're going to have all of these movies on here. And as a huge Disney fan, they actually release these day and date when they put them on Disney Plus. They also put them in 3D on here as well, like the new Elio movie that just released is available in 3D. So it seems like every time that they have a 3D theatrical release in the theaters, which thank God we're still getting 3D releases in the theaters, then they seem to be putting it on here on the Apple Vision Pro. I wish Disney Plus would expand where they offer 3D so we have more options on where we can watch it. But obviously they have an exclusive partnership with Apple Vision Pro in some regards. But even if it was available somewhere else, it's kind of hard to get the quality of what you get from those 4K, you know, OLED, micro OLEDs on the Vision Pro anyway, even if you did have another headset to make it look this good. So it's probably still going to be my preferred way to watch it on the Apple Vision Pro. And they have a really good catalog here as you guys are looking at. And don't forget, Disney Plus gives you access to these awesome 3D environments that you could watch your movies in, which adds to the experience. And being in Avengers Tower, watching these movies in 3D, I mean, right now it's all lit in here, but the resolution that you get, I mean, that's insane on how good this actually looks. I mean, every time I come in the Apple Vision Pro, it's like even in the Disney Plus app here, it just reminds me on how good this headset actually is for media watching. It's just kind of insane, the quality and the resolution and just the colors and the contrast and everything that this thing produces. It's bar none the best way to watch 3D movies, and a lot of people's best way to watch media in general, even if it was 2D. But yeah, this is just amazing. And then when you put on the movie, it literally just goes on. And, you know, if you put on the trailer here for Avatar, it kind of dims the whole entire environment. And now it's kind of projected on there. And look at all this. It's all dimmed out and stuff. And, you know, it just looks fantastic in here. And then you start watching the movie here in front of you. And it's just amazing. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video of me showcasing everything, how I watch 3D and stuff like that in this house. Like I said, I have a variety of different ways, luckily, and how I enjoy my 3D content. And you guys know, whoever follows this channel, how much I love 3D movies and how much I love 3D games as well. So let me know all the use cases that you guys use. Let me know which one of these products you guys like. If you guys want to support me in the channel, like I said, all the links to the affiliate links for these products will be down below if you guys want to use them. I've been enjoying them ever since I got them. That's why I put them in order, so you guys can see what I use the most and how I enjoy my 3D content. But it's been a really fun, you know, couple of years finally getting back into 3D. We thought 3D was dying. It's getting a resurgence. You know, Quest and Meta and stuff like that, partnering with James Cameron to release, you know, apparently a lot of 3D movies in the future on the Quest platform. You know, Apple, obviously with Disney Plus and bringing those 3D movies, I would have never thought a few years ago that we would have saw the day where 3D was making a resurgence, but it is, and it's better than ever because 4K HDR on the Apple Vision Pro is awesome. But even if it wasn't for that, even if we were just getting regular 1080p, you know, 3D Blu-rays that we can watch, it's still an amazing experience that we're still getting some of these movies releasing that way. So really, really awesome stuff. Hopefully we see that resurgence continue. And again, guys, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.